Hello and welcome to today's stream. It has been a whole 2 days since I've been in front of y'all. It's been an interesting 2 days. So, yeah, I am Tiana Rebedak McCoy. Thanks for joining in. I have to do that obligatory um, voting and subscribing and hitting that bell and stuff. So that way, metrics and I don't know, stuff so other people can come check out the channel. Yeah, do all of that stuff if you don't mind, please. Thank you. Get rid of that and put up that ticker. So, if you do have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And yes, I'm reading. And for those questions that I cannot answer, I have my GoogleFu and we will explore the depths of React because that is what we're working on today. So table of contents, because documentation, we all love documentation. We're going to do hello world. We're going to work in reactjs.org like we did the last time. This time we're going to focus on the emoji search though. And then the AMA and then wrapping up and all of that fun stuff. So let's see. Next page. Yes, the introduction. Because this is going to be on every one of my videos because I never know when people are actually going to be watching or if this is their first time. I'm building this channel about reverse engineering applications that have been built in order to better understand how you can build your future applications. So most people build it from the ground up. I'm going to take a different approach and tear it down from the top down and see if we can understand what is going on and how they got to where they got to, and it'll kind of simulate going into a new job and diving into their code base to understand what's going on. I hope, maybe. Gaps of understanding. There are so many of them, even myself. But with that, I'm going to throw out this disclaimer that I am still very junior. I don't know what I don't know, and what I don't know, we will learn together. So that's the thing about this page. And the next page is reactjs.org, which I fixed from yesterday, I think. I don't actually remember fixing it. I just know it was wrong yesterday. Oh no, it's wrong over there. Okay, so I still didn't fix that. It's reactjs.org, not reactjs.org. So I should probably fix that after the stream. Yeah. The Emoji Search is the application we're going to be diving into. That Ask Me About It is the AMA at the end. So if you have any questions and are present, and you can ask them live or throw it in a comment and I will do my best to answer them after the stream. And then we'll wrap it up and tell you about the whole schedule stuff. So, moving on. This app is not the calculator. I should fix that. I should definitely fix that. What we're actually working on is the emoji search. And I could have swore there was like a pointer thing. Ha! There's a laser pointer. So, we're going to do the emoji search. Here's the link to the GitHub. It is also in the description if you want to follow that and follow along if you're watching this afterwards or you're doing this live with me. What's up, Free? How are you? I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, so to pull a React application down from GitHub, 99.99% of the time, you're going to run npm install and npm start, which will set everything up with the node modules and start the program so that way it's running in your browser and you can see what's going on. And what's the next one? Oh, that's wrapping up. We don't want to go to that one. So we're going to exit out of here. No, I told you don't go to that one. We're going to go over to here. This is the GitHub page, which if you followed that link, it's going to send you here. Let's do the README right quick. Yeah, it's the exact same thing because I copied it over and stuff. And whenever these READMEs get longer, I'll probably have more slides to show you. But we're working on very basic stuff right now. So it's like 10 lines and it's fantastic. I am good. How are you? Um, Actually, that's exactly what you said. I am fantastic. How are you doing today? I hope that's better. More distinguished and, a response instead of like a parodying thing. Yeah. And let's move on. So we go to code, the big green button. I have my SSH key set up. You can do it with HTTPS. And there's also the GitHub CLI, which I've never really used, so I don't know much about. But yeah, hit the copy button and we'll go over to our terminal, bring that up, and we'll do git clone and shift insert and clone this bad boy down. And fantastic. After we're done with that, we're going to cd into this project, which is emo tab. Come in here, do an ls. Also, fun fact, you could do ls-al and it'll give you a different set of information. But we're going to be good here and we're going to do code, period, and updating VS Code. Fantastic. Haha, here it is. Is it going to work? Do you trust the authors in this file? I'm going to say yes. I actually don't know if I trust them, but we're just going to go with it. As you see, our node modules are not here, which means that we did not take care of the npm or the npm install from our README, which is right here. So we're going to go over here while we're inside of our project directory, npm install, and it's going to give us our node modules, which will allow it to do all of the things. So this guy says that GitHub Desktop is a big time saver. We should probably look into that. We might look into it together as a community to figure out what is going on with that whole thing. So, I'll have to do some reading first because who wants to see someone that is completely unprepared to talk about something that they have know nothing about? Who knows? Maybe y'all. I'm pretty good at talking out my butt with stuff. Yeah. A lot of depreciation. So what that is doing, or what that is saying, is that this package is so old, nothing has been updated in a very long time. And so hopefully we can still get this to run without it breaking. And I guess we're going to find out. So npm start. Starting the server, and it's popping up over here on my other screen. And is it going to go? It's going to go. Yeah, okay. So we're going to take this down into this mode. And I'm going to leave it to the viewers. What emojis should we search for first? Looks like we have a few of them. I guess there's a very many of them. 100. 10. Oh, clock 10. That wasn't on the original page. Okay, so there's more to this than what's on the surface, reading a book and cover and all of that stuff. Let's see if there's a GitHub emoji. GitHub, nope. Duck. Ha! There's a duck. Fantastic. I like ducks. You can click the copy the emoji, so that's some cool functionality. And this is also a feature, so if you type in, partial words, it'll actively filter between what has a D and a U in it, which is, I don't understand why that's there. But there's a DU, and there's a DU. There's no DU in there. Interesting. Okay, so if we make this small enough, we were looking at the CSS. Here we go. The CSS the other day was dealing with mobile responsiveness, and whenever it reaches a certain width on the device, it goes away, this banner thing. So that's some functionality. I should probably make the other screen bigger. Oh yeah, probably. Let's do that. So now that the other screen is bigger, because, not a professional, junior dev, all that fun stuff. But yeah, and here we go. So, yeah, so DU, there is no D, there is a D in this one, but there's no U. I wonder why that's actually picking up. It's kind of, huh. Anyway, that's cool though. What this is saying is that you can run this on your local, which is not the, I guess it is. I wonder what's at the home page. So typically you do localhost 3000 and, oh, that's because I was already searching for something, I think. Maybe. No? Hmm. We'll have to check out the routing on that one because I'm not exactly sure why it's this specifically. Anyway, so let's dive in. That's better. You are most welcome. Okay, so we're going to go here. We've already covered the README, and let's check out our package or package.json. This is where all the packages are stored, so that way when you run npm install, it looks through this folder and says, we need to have a clipboard, the ribbon, React, and React DOM. And then a couple scripts, some dev dependencies. Yeah, so I noticed that it has prettier, but it's probably not going to work because this is a dev dependency and it doesn't need to be. Where is my prettier? Anyway, but we're going to ignore that for now because we can. And let's see. So always starting at the top level, which is not our app, it is in fact our index. So in our index we have React from React and React DOM from React DOM. And then we're importing our app from this app over here and some CSS and the ribbon. React DOM.render, there always has to be a render. It's going to render everything that is inside the app. And it's going to send it to our root, which is in our public folders, which we could check out right quick, but usually we don't want to touch. Our root is, where's our root? Here's our root. Everything inside of index, which holds everything inside of app, is stored inside of this div. And then it's displayed on the web page. And so that is the folder that we do not want to touch very often. It has some metadata. The title, you could change the title of your main application and all of that fun stuff. So looking back at our index, it says that we need to go to our app. So let's do that. Let's go to our app.js. Oh, here's something new. A pure component, which I actually don't know what is. We might need to Google that. But it's coming from the React package along with React itself. And then we have our header, our search input, our results, and our filter. Can I look at this? Can I? Aha! So it is working. So class pure component, a whole bunch of stuff I don't understand. P equals an object, S equals an object, which are these. SS equals something that we shouldn't talk about because they are extremely bad people. Extends a component with PS and, I don't know, PostScript? Sure, why not? But we're going to take this and Google. There it is. I should probably close some of these down because don't want that open. I'll keep that open. That open. Okay, that makes it a little better. So handy dandy Google, we're going to type in React because that is what we're working in. We're going to paste in pure component, which I took from there. And let's see what this is all about. what is React Pure Component? Let's check that out. By default, React will always have and it would absolutely help if I don't unplug my mic. I mean, sort of. Be hard to talk to you guys without it. What are we looking at? Oh, yes. What is a React Pure Component? React will always re-render the component each time there is a change in state or props. A pure component is a component that performs a check on a value of React props before deciding whether to re-render the component or not. So, if we go back to our code and get out of here, because we don't need to look at that anymore, where are we using this pure component? Okay, so it's like the entire thing. If something changes in here, then it's going to re-render, which I'm assuming is for the filtering. It's going to check out this dot state and see if anything's changed in here, and then re-render the component in order to update the search, which is how you get it, the DU pulling up a graduation hat. Yeah. So class app extends pure component. We have a constructor. I think this is the first time we're seeing a constructor because the last app didn't have one. The constructor holds the state, and it takes in props. And inside of our constructor, we'll have super props, which does it have a description? How do I explain super props? GoogleFu to the rescue. What is super props? And also don't forget what you're working on in React. Reference to the parent constructor function. Why do we need to write super props? Sure, why not? Let's go check this out. I'm thinking it's an old thing that had to happen before hooks came in. What do we call super? Okay, so you can't use this in a constructor until after you've called the parent constructor. So that's okay. So it's calling the parent in order to give this the functionality it needs to do what you want it to do. Cool. I think that sounds about right. So, if we don't have any questions on that, we're going to continue on. So inside of our super props, we have this.state, which we just discussed, that this is able to work because of this right here. And inside of our state, we have a filtered emoji. And inside of the filtered emoji key value, we have a function that is calling the filter emoji, which is in another file. It's going to take in two things, an empty string and a number. Not exactly sure what the number is at this point, but we can figure it out. Let's see if we can do this. Can we open that up? Fantastic. So holding down Alt on a function, or let's see if it works here. Yeah, it works here. We'll open up another window, and let's go over here, and let's open up this and make it to where it is easily navigatable, or easier to navigate around your class or around your folder structure. It's really helpful when you're really new to a project and don't exactly know where to look for things. You can hit Alt or hold Alt and click on it, and it'll take you right there. So in this filter emoji, it's passing in a empty string and a number. So search text and max results. This is important because if you name things properly, things start to make sense within like 4 lines of code. Like the string is the search text and the max results is 20. And going through this, after we've imported the emoji list, which is our JSON file, which we can open up. Okay, what that's saying is there are a bunch of things in here, and it doesn't want to look at all of them. But it's an array of objects, array being the square bracket, and object being this curly brace, and it has a title, a symbol, and keywords. So I bet you if we look somewhere in here for the graduation hat, which Control F will let you do that, so graduation hat. So graduation, cap, hat, office. Still don't understand why DU was... No, there it is. Graduation. That's why that pulled up. Good to know. The power of following the data. And that answers that question. Cool. So that's our emoji list. That's just a, data set of data that you want to pass around in your app. But from that data list, it's going to filter. And .filter is actually up here. But for prettier sake, it moves it down. So when it says .filter, it's actually saying emoji list.filter. But it does it, formats it in this way. So that's fine. And it's going to take in the emoji. Or it's going to have an emoji. And if emoji.title to lowercase includes and to lowercase. Alright, so what this is saying is emoji.title. Emoji.title. I'm going to open up this list again. So emoji.title. And to lowercase, that means that if the user puts in a uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter because whenever you get the data, it's all going to be lowercase and you don't have to check for it to be uppercase or lowercase. Saves a lot of time. And if it includes the search text to lowercase. So it's making sure that all of this is lowercase and it's making sure that this is lowercase. So from both sides, it's just a error boundary check thing. Includes is, includes is a function that says, well, if you have a D or a U or a C or all of those, I just want you to return everything that has those letters in there. And it's going to search through the search text and convert it to lowercase. And if that returns true, if it is true, it returns true. Okay. Makes sense. So if it, exists, then it returns true with whatever emojis that are there. If emoji.keywords includes the search text, so it's true, it's going to return true. So this if statement right here is searching through the title, right? Yep, title. This if statement is searching through the keywords, and it's going to be the same functionality. But if the search text is not included on either one of these, it's going to return false, and then it's going to slice it. Slice means that I only want a portion of the results, and the portion of the results that is determined is by the max results, so that 20 that we saw. So it's going to return the top 20 starting from 0. And that is the filter emoji function. Any questions? Okay, so we're done with that, which means we can close that. I'm going to keep this open over here because data. Who doesn't like data? So all of that functionality is going to happen whenever this .state.filter emoji is called. And we'll get to there in a second. Below that, we have the handle search change, which takes in the event. The event is actually the keyboard event. Whenever someone types in a key, that's what's being passed through here. And whenever it's passed through here, it's going to set this .state, which is up here, filtered emoji, and it's going to call this function. And instead of this being an empty string, it's going to say event, so the keys, and the target.value, which translates to, all right, I want the D key and the U key and the C key, and it's all going to be put in here, and then run the function. This has a default of 20, but you can change that to be dynamic. Let's say you wanted to add, I don't know, 50. You can change this to 50, and it'll return the top 50 results. And that's how that works. So that's our handle change. So we have our render return. Everything within our return goes to the HTML, the browser, and says, okay, everything inside of here you're gonna see. And like I said before, is you cannot return more than one element, but you can return one element with many inside of it. So this is an error, and it will blow up and say, hey, don't do that, dummy. Inside of our div here, we got a header, we have our search input, and we have our results. So let's go check out the header first. Let's see what's on there. Making this. Well, it should be big enough as far as the text goes, right? I think. If it's not, please let me know. I will make it bigger, and I highly apologize for not having it big enough. While I'm waiting for that answer, let's continue on. So we're going to import React and pure component again. So that's coming back from the React package, and we're going to import the header CSS. And in this, we're going to export the default class header, which makes this possible. So it's saying, I want you to export all of this and put it in here. And whenever we get there, there's not really any functionality for this. We're going to render return header, as you see, one element, with the class name of component header. Inside of that header, we're going to have an image. And then we're going to have some text saying Emoji Search, and then another image. And on these images, we have some attributes, the source, the width, and the height, and the alt, which very poorly done. They should have an alt on here. But what is Emoji1 PNG? Emoji, aha, the cat. So what this is saying, make this smaller again, is I want the cat, stupid thing, and then I want Emoji Search, which is right here, and then I want another cat, wrapping it all in a header tag and returning it to our app. So that's what's going on there. And let's go back to our app. After the header, we have our search input. So let's do our alt, open that up, take that over here, close this. We're importing our pure component again from React, and now we're importing prop types. So we'll get to explore that a little bit. This is going to extend our pure component with static prop types, which we talked a little bit before about. And let's Google. So what are static prop types? What are static prop types? ES6. Let's go to a Medium article. Let's see if it kicks us out. No? Okay, cool. Prop types. React allows you to assign JSON to a static field called prop types. on your React component to describe the shape of the argument it receives as props. So static prop types is the shape of the argument. So you have an object here, and then you have text change and prop types function. So it makes it possible to read JSON. Okay. I could deal with that. Prop types has a function on it, or a method called func, which I'm assuming translates the JSON into something that we can use. And so after we're done with the static prop types, we go to our handle change. It takes in an event, and it's going to target this .props.text change, which is this text change right here, and it's going to pass in our event to text change, which is a function. Let's find that function. Can't find that function. All right, it's going to send it to prop type stop function. I wonder if we can find that function. Can we? Not that it makes much sense. It's spreading the arguments, having any array, and it's going to call back any. A whole lot of stuff that you'll probably not need to ever know, but at least you know where to find it. It's in the index.d.ts, which I'm assuming is TypeScript, because this looks a little funny. So it might be TypeScript. If you want to learn more about TypeScript, check this out. And let's go back though and render return. So we have our render and return. Inside of our div, we have a class name on here so that we can style it. Inside of that, we have another div. Don't exactly know why, but okay, that works. Inside of there, we have an input, and this probably has something to do with styling and being able to make it. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. The input is going to have an on change, which means every time you press in a button, it's going to send this to the handle change and say, okay, update it now, update it now. And like I said, it's going to send it to this .handle change. And this refers to this. Handle change refers to this function. And yeah, that's a thing. The event is actually coming from the on change. It will pass in the event, so you don't have to explicitly call it that event. The keys that have been entered. Feel free to pull me back into any file that you want to go over or have questions about, but until you do, we're going to continue on. And we're going to go to emoji results. Okay. In emoji results, we have a little bit more going on. Doing our peer component, we have our prop types, and now we also have our clipboard. Is that a actual thing in here? Apps. I don't see a clipboard. That's fine. Import emoji results row. Well, that's another file. Let's go check that out. So from here, so we've gone from our app into our emoji results. Inside of our emoji results, we have another component being used called emoji results row. Inside of that component, we have some CSS, the React imports, and the prop type imports. We have some more static prop types with a title and a symbol, and it's going to return a string and a string. They're going to hold a string, I guess. Inside of this render, we have a constant of code point hex, which is equal to this dot props dot symbol dot code point at 0. So this is actually shouldn't be a string. Well, maybe it is. That's a number though. Code point at. So this is where the code is going to look in there and say, okay, where is... Oh, it is a string. Okay. This is referring to this string right here because these are not numbers, they're all strings. So that's good to know. And it's saying that it's going to point at that symbol. So it's going to point at this symbol, and then you're going to convert it to string with no more than 16 characters, which is cool. Oh, it's taking it from, the symbol to an actual string, which probably is that right there, maybe. The source is coming from the jsdeliver.net, the CDN, and it is a dynamic URL. And what makes it dynamic is these backticks, and it's making it to where you can put in this code point hex, which is coming from here, and saying I want this one or that one or the other one or over yonder, go grab that thing, and then it's going to return it in a div. This div has a class name and the data clipboard text, which is going to store some information for you, so that way it's on your PC or on your computer, and it's going to store this .props.symbol. So this .props.symbol, it's going to take everything in here and put it onto your clipboard on your computer. Inside of that div, it's going to show you the title of the emoji, and it's going to render the source image, which comes from here. Nope, I said that wrong. It comes from here, which is going directly to the CDN to pull that information. And then in these spans you have the title, which is pulled from here, and then another span to say click to copy emoji, which we saw right here. Click to copy emoji, and it has some CSS on it to make it to where it disappears, which is always nifty. So image, the title, and the click to copy. That's what this div right here is doing. And then we're taking all of this, and putting it into our emoji results. And we haven't gotten down there. So it's importing all of that functionality here to use it in a minute. We're going to go with that. So that takes care of that. And then we're importing some CSS. We got the default export of emoji results. That extends a pure component, which has static prop types inside of an object. Inside that object, we have emoji data and prop types.array, which means that inside of this object, we'll have an array. An array being not that's an array. And then component did mount. So this is the lifecycle methods. Whenever the browser loads, it will load this component did mount and is setting things up to happen the thing that it's setting up is a new clipboard, which means it's now talking to your computer saying, hey, I need your clipboard for a minute. I will give it back to you whenever you're done with whatever we're doing. And then this .clipboard. Where is this .clipboard? Oh, it's in the results row. My bad. It's pulling all of that data and saying copy to clipboard. Yeah. And then after it's done with that, and you exit the page, the browser, it's going to do this component will unmount, and it will destroy is such a strong word, but it's really just saying, okay, I don't care about this data anymore. Let's get rid of it and clean up the browser. So inside of our render return, we have a div with a class name, and inside of that div we have this .props.emojidata.map. .map is always my favorite thing because it replaces a for loop for most cases. Not all the time, but for most cases, if you're trying to do a for loop through data, then you can also map through the data. And whenever you're mapping through a data, you want to wrap it in a object because it's going to return, it's going to be a data object, I guess is the way you say that. It's going to be dynamic when it returns. And in this map, we are pulling from the emoji data, and we're passing in the emoji data. Inside of here, we have a component, the Emoji Results row that we just went through, and it's returning some things, which is it's returning the title and the info and copying it to the clipboard and all that fun stuff. You pass in a key because every map function has to have a key. In this case, they're setting it to the title, which, yeah, that would be unique. So this would be unique in every title, hopefully. There are people that set it to the index, which is a bad idea because whenever you get into more complex projects, it will interfere with how you render things out and how your data is structured and manipulated. So I highly recommend that you don't set it to your index, but in a quick fix, small scale project, it is not going to destroy your project. And so that's a thing. Your symbol, your emoji data.symbol, and your title. So you're going to pass all that information in, and it's going to kick back out that div that we were talking about, this div with all of that rendered to the page. And then it's closing it off and exiting the div. And so that is that. We're not going to save this because I didn't actually want to change anything. I was just looking at stuff. Let's open up our file structure because I don't think there's anything else that I can actually look at through here. I think we followed the data to its fullest extent. Do we filter emoji? Yes, we did. Went through the header, the index, and the search input. We went through all of the JS files, so that's fantastic. Let's see if they've done anything interesting with their CSS files. So what do we got? Text align center. They have an animation. So the app logo spin. This is actually the React logo, which I did not see on there. So this is remnants of the create React app function, and 9 times out of 10 you delete all of this because you don't need it. there are people that will their set their margin and padding to 0 in their index, along with box sizing. And then there are people that will put it in their app CSS. There is not much difference between the two on a CSS level. It all has to depend. It depends on how you are structuring your CSS to work with each other, on whether or not you want to put it in your app CSS or the index CSS, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sure if I'm mistaken, I will get a text about it, because a friend of mine is like the queen of CSS. If she's watching, hi. See you later. Yeah, so media screen, we talked about this a little bit last time. The max width means that it's going to be display none for the ribbon up until 500 pixels. And what that is saying is this ribbon right here, once it gets less than 500 pixels, it goes away. And if you don't believe me, we'll inspect this thing. Do that, go to mobile, go to responsive. So if you watch this, oh, for those that don't know, the console is a very powerful thing. If you right click and inspect the element, it'll bring up all of our dev tools. And if you hit this toggle device toolbar, it'll change it from desktop to mobile. Let's make this a little smaller. You have different standard sizes like the iPhone 6, 7, and 8, or the Plus, or the iPad, or the Galaxy Fold, which I'm actually kind of surprised that they developed this to work on a Galaxy Fold, because that's relatively new. Galaxy Fold also, folds out, so it does have a larger display, but 280 is a value that most developers don't go down to. I think the most common one is like 340, maybe. What's the Galaxy? 360 and iPhone. So in between 320 and 360 is the standard. But if you develop down to 280, it'll fit on the Galaxy Fold, which I have gotten in the habit of, because if it looks good at 280, it's also going to look good at 411-ish or 360. And so that's what I've chosen to do. But going back to my original point, the responsiveness, this app media, what it's saying is as soon as it hits 500, it adds it back on. It adds the display to not none. So yeah, there's that. Let's go to our app CSS. We've already looked at app CSS. Let's go down the list now. Emoji Results row has a border on it on the bottom specifically, some padding, some height, position is relative, cursor is pointer. So anytime you want to draw attention that something is clickable, you can change your cursor to a pointer, which will allow it, when you're on desktop mode, to change it from your cursor to a pointer. It says, hey, click me. It's a thing you can do. Go ahead. Background color is E, which is the sound that my brain makes whenever I look at a white background. So that's appropriate. I'm going to actually use that from now on. Because, yeah. Inside of our row, our image is sized to 32 by 32 with a padding of 10. So it makes it small or bigger, depending on how small the icons really are. I actually don't know what they're developed in or created in. This one right here is targeting the title. The position is relative, and it has a top of -8, which means that it's taking its original position and moving it up 8 pixels. I really should fix this to where I'm not like kicking it all the time, But if you can't tell, I move a lot, and it takes a minute to get used to, but it's okay, and all that fun stuff. So moving on, we have a float right, a position relative. We're setting that top and right positions again, so it's going 8 down and to the right 10, I think. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And it's also going to have a display none for the info. I don't know why. This has a hover effect to change the display to inline block. So that's cool. Emoji Results CSS. Ooh, this is a monster file. A whole single line. How fantastic. Yeah. Header CSS. This has a little bit in it. So it's setting the padding, the position, the font weight, the font family, the size, making it center, and setting the colors to a backwards E. So you have E, and then you have a backwards E, also known as a 3. Just putting that out there. And then your header image is going to be relative and be positioned a little bit with a little bit of padding to the left and right of 14 pixels. So it's not going to change how much padding is on top. It's just going to make it a little spaced out a little bit more. And to continue on, we already looked at CSS, but let's check out the search input. So again, it has a border bottom. And then inside of that div, it has some margin, which is probably why that div was inside of a div unnecessarily, because they wanted to space out the margin and make it a little bit, give it a little space in between the box itself and the text container, or the input container. And then in the input, it has box sizing. Okay, so that's something I don't understand. I don't understand why it was box sizing is put here instead of on the app CSS or index CSS. Maybe I'll look into that and have an answer in the comments. But yeah, that's a thing. And that is the whole thing. And again, that was like 50 minutes. I am proud of myself. A little pat on the back that I did not talk for 6 hours. Just one-ish. If we have any questions, comments, or inquiries, or, however else you say questions or comments, throw them in the chat. Throw them in the comments. And let's get these things answered. And we're going to, hang out here for a minute. I think I have, I don't want that one. That one? That one. Yes. So we're going to go to, I should really change that. Yeah. The AMA. So let's present this and ask me about it. Is there anything about the project that we went through that confused you or would like to know more about, and that we can Google together and be like, why would you even put that in there? And probably come up with the answer of, oh, that's why. I wish I had music on here. I need to figure that out. I haven't figured it out yet. And when I tried to share audio, whenever I was pulling all this up, it gave me a weird error. So that's something I hope to have here soon in the future. I also might be getting away from StreamYard and going back to Streamlabs because of their functionality. And then only using StreamYard whenever I have guests on here and don't need all of the functionality of Streamlabs. So that's a thing that I'm looking into and hopefully going to make a decision on. But yeah, and I think that is going to wrap up our show because I don't see any comments. That's fine. So, wrapping up, I plan on doing this every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are always busy for me, so I'm not able to do it on those days. Saturdays, though, there might be a stream or two on Saturday, and it's mostly going to be chilling and kicking back and listening to music and playing games and stuff like that. Maybe we'll play some games with each other. Who knows? It's like an open day. Um, I don't know what Saturday that'll be, but stick around. You'll find out. Also, gotta do this obligatory this thing again. Vote if you liked what I had to say about all of that project. Vote up. If you didn't, vote down, but also tell me why. Because if you don't tell me why and just give me a thumbs down, that's gonna like make me sad or something, and I might cry myself to not. I don't know. It's a thing. Um, Also hit that subscribe button because of metrics, and you want to see me pop up in your timeline from time to time. And then hit that bell so that way whenever I am live, you can come chat with me and tell me all the things that I'm doing wrong. Because that's also a thing that you can do because of free speech and stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. That is my last slide. And I will see you guys next Tuesday with another project that we'll be breaking down and seeing if it works or how it works. Because we know it does work. We just want to know why it works or how it works. Getting into the depths of code and stuff. So, yeah. Bye.